Welcome to r/am I the Jerk, where Karen gets busted robbing a store. I'm about to send my employee's wife to jail for stealing over $1,000 from my store. I was missing some money and I couldn't find it for the life of me, so I checked my CCTV recordings. Sure enough, one of her girls, age 9, distracted me for a bit and she stole a large amount of cash. It's all on camera. The setup, lying in wait, and swooping in at the right moment. I won't disclose the amount, but suffice it to say, it's a felony amount in California. Now I have to file a report in a few hours and let the chips fall where they may. He'll probably resign, I'm guessing. Oh well. Here's the background to fill in the gaps. Employee's mom cleans my business after hours and has done it for a good while. Over time, I got to know her son and offered him a job. Seems responsible enough and he works hard. Fast forward several years and he hooks up with a single mom, the thief, gets her pregnant and forms a family. During this time, he helps his mom clean, and then his partner began to help too. I wasn't comfortable with her coming in at first, but I relented eventually. The thief drags her 2 older daughters along. Fast forward to today. I was counting some money and I couldn't find the night's closing cash. To be honest, I'm forgetful and probably have ADHD, so I don't always pay attention to where I put things. I'm not sure about the money, so I looked on my security cameras to see where I had put it. It's then that I see a girl swipe the money from my desk while I was purposely distracted. This is around 2:30 a.m. or so when I watched the video. The crime took place around 9:30 p.m. I start reviewing the CCTV from different angles for the whole time the girl was here, and I see how it all unfolded. I take some phone recordings of the footage. I called my employee's mom at around 3:30 a.m. and she talked to him and explained everything. I explained to her that I'm getting the police involved in 4 hours if I don't get my money back by then. I sent her a snippet of the video recording. The police station opened at 8 a.m. Why did I call his mom? She also works for me. I don't suspect that she was involved, but what do I know? Her son and I don't communicate too well, plus I'm not sure if he's involved. The mom said that her son, my employee, would drop off the money at around 6 a.m. So I waited for a good while for them to show up, and nothing. It's now 6:30 a.m., an hour and a half until the police station opens. I call his mom again and I tell her about the legal consequences if I don't get my money soon. His mom says he's on his way. I was thinking that they're making time to flee to Los Angeles or some other place. I call him when 7:30 rolls around and he blocks me. I call his mom again and his mom says he's nearby and is dropping the money off, but I don't believe it. At 7:40, the thief shows up. At this time, there's no one around. I can see her in the parking lot with my CCTV. I also see that there's a vendor outside waiting to make a delivery. I walk outside, past her in her SUV, and I tell the vendor that I need him to be a witness, but he's reluctant. I tell him not to worry and that he can stay in his truck and witness from there. I then walk back to the SUV, I walk up to her door, and I see she has a bundle of cash, all organized by denominations. She tells me that her daughter did it and that she punished her. I then took the money and walked back to the vendor's truck, thanked the vendor, and she took off. For the record, the amount is over $1,000, which makes it a felony in California. This could be a crime of moral turpitude, which could result in her losing permanent resident status. My boyfriend gave a handmade Christmas present to his mother that I made. I make really cool vases as a hobby. These can take weeks to complete and are always made with the giftee in mind. My mom, who's 50, and I have always been into nature together. We hike, we own animals, we eat outside if we can. I guess being into nature sounds weird. We just like being outside. So I made my mom a Siamese cat urn. It looks like a vase, but the top is the cat's ears. It's super cute and I love the way that it turned out. No one had passed or anything, it was just the style of the piece. I had finished it and taken it to my apartment, wrapped it up, and been so excited about it. Well, my boyfriend's mother came over and he didn't get her a Christmas or a birthday present. She loves cats, so he just gave her the piece that I made, which she loved. My boyfriend does not live with me. He has his own apartment near his school. His mother came over before we went over for dinner to see my new kitten. She was in tears over how nice the present was, and I ruined it. I told her that the presents must have gotten mixed up, that was made for my mother. She got a bit upset, gave it back, then my boyfriend went out to dinner with her. He said it would be best if I didn't come along. I guess she cried the whole way and he didn't have a present for her, so he looked like a bad son. I have trouble seeing where I'm at fault. I understand that the nice thing would have been to remake a gift or let her just have it. However, it was one of my best pieces and I always give my mother art that I make. She loves it. She shows it off to everyone. It's something she takes great pride in. She has one from every Christmas, and I never miss a year. She even shows off the crappy lumps that I made as a kid. My boyfriend wants to talk tomorrow. I'm not sure if he's going to break up with me or if he just wants to fight about it. I just need to know what people think. Was I a jerk? Boyfriend seems to think I was. I love this guy very much, and I really love his mom. She's super sweet and kind, and she never gets nice things. I still don't think it's my job to cover for his lack of foresight. Her birthday comes every year on the same day. It's not like it surprised him. I got her a card and a book, which I thought was nice. She thanked me for them later over text, but she seemed really sad about the cat vase. I guess she was hoping I either made her something or my boyfriend actually got her something she really liked. She likes cats, and he has never gotten her anything cat-themed. It's always some cooking supplies or an apron, which means that he sucks at presents. So I'm just not sure what to think. Does anyone have an idea what to do in this situation? I don't really have any advice to give, but I want you to know that I think your actions were quite reasonable. Your boyfriend should not have taken the gift that you'd made specifically for your mother. It sucks that his mother was hurt by this, but I think if you'd let him get away with it, it would set a bad precedent. Good for you for standing up for yourself. If he decides to break up with you over this, it's due to his own flaws and immaturity. He could have asked you to make something for his mother or found something that she'd like, but he didn't. Don't apologize for your actions. If anything, he owes you a massive apology for trying to steal your mother's present and making you look like the bad guy to his mother. To be honest, I'd dump him for giving away something that you made for your mom without consulting you and blaming you for the fallout that it created. He could have asked you to make one for her. You're not the jerk. He is. Update. My now ex-boyfriend showed up around 4 p.m. and wanted to talk to me. He just told me he was disappointed and that it took a lot of sweet talking to make his mother understand what happened. He told her I mixed up the packages, but that I had one for her that I just needed to get. I told him I didn't have anything for her and that I was not going to be helping him out. He could go buy one for her and pass it off as homemade, but I was not covering for him. I told him I just felt that his behavior was cruel. The effort I put into my art, and my mom, his mom, just everyone. He told me that he expected better. He would not apologize. He just kept getting angrier and angrier. He ended up taking a piece that I had made earlier this year. I was really proud of it. It was a mermaid on a rock. He said he would give this to her and that I could find a new boyfriend. I told him if he left with it, I would call the police. We weren't screaming, but we were both really angry. He slammed it back down on the table. He told me that he never wanted to see me again and I should call him when I grow up. I told him we were over, that he was no longer my boyfriend and I wanted nothing to do with him. I said he could take the clay back if he wanted, but I had already returned his Xbox to the store. He told me to keep the clay, and he wouldn't have apologized if he knew I wasn't giving him the present. He called me a liar and said that I had ruined his holiday. According to the dribble coming out of his mouth, his mom was really hurt and had left town early. He thought giving her a piece and shifting the blame to me for getting would make it better. I told him to just leave. So now I'm single, but with a lot of clay and a lightly cracked mermaid statue. I'm not sure how to feel about this, but Dobby is free. Am I the jerk for making my wife confess to all of her friends and family that she cheated on me if she does not want a divorce? I, 34 male, have been married to my wife, who's 32, for 5 years, and we have 3 kids. A few months ago, I found out from my wife's text that she's been cheating on me, and I confronted her about it. She confessed to it and gave me an entire breakdown of her affair, which had lasted for a month. I was devastated and asked her why. She gave no excuses for it. She just said that she had caught feelings for her affair partner, which was wrong, and she had acted on them. He was her coworker. I asked her if I lacked in anything, and she said no, and she was in tears. I needed a few days to process this. My wife gave me space, but she asked me many times to reconsider divorce because it would uproot the lives of our kids. She said she would do anything I wanted for the rest of her life. After a week, I decided that I needed only one thing from my wife to completely forgive her, and that was to call each and every one of our friends and family and confess to her affair. I told her that was my only condition. She was really hesitant and asked me if I could reconsider the condition because this would ruin a lot of her friendships and family relationships. But I told her that this was what I needed as part of my forgiveness process, and that if she didn't do this, I was going to start looking for a divorce lawyer. Over the next week, my wife made a phone call to all of her friends, parents, grandparents, siblings, uncles, aunts, pretty much everyone that she knew, and confessed to her affair. It was hurtful and there was a lot of crying. My wife was hurled with a lot of shouting. By the week's end, my wife had called everyone I wanted her to call. It's been a few months, and my wife and I actually have a really strong relationship now. However, my wife has pretty much become isolated from her friends and a lot of her family. This has hurt her a lot, and she spends a lot of nights crying, but she says that this was worth it, for our relationship and for our kids. Am I the jerk? Incredible that anyone who has 3 kids could actually find the time to cheat. I only have 1, and I barely have time to take a shower. I just feel that's embarrassing for you too. You stayed with a cheating spouse, like your wife messed up, then had to tell her whole family and friends that she messed up. Everyone sucks here. I hate cheaters, but I don't understand what you're trying to do here. I guarantee you your relationship is not stronger than ever. The public humiliation you put her through will stay with her until she explodes. It would be one thing if she had told a bunch of lies about you that needed to be corrected. I just don't know what you're trying to do here. I understand the need to get your wife to confess to someone other than you, but from the number of persons you describe her calling, it seems to be more of airing the dirty laundry. Aside from parents and siblings, what was the point of letting other relatives and friends know? Update. I feel really guilty even typing this out, but I'm now considering divorce. While I still love my wife, her personality has completely shifted over the past few months, and she's no longer the joyous and energetic person I fell in love with. Instead, she's always sad, gloomy, cries often, and very clingy to me. I admit that I made a mistake asking her to confess her affair to everyone because it's just changed her whole personality completely. I wish she could go back to her joyous nature, but I don't know if it's possible anymore. I'm not sure how to tell my wife I'm considering divorce because it would just break her heart. Bruh, she needs therapy. So does OP, to be honest. He thought they had a strong relationship when she was crying herself to sleep most nights, after making her confess her affair to everyone he wanted, effectively isolating her from everyone. And now he minds that she's clingy. I've been cheated on, so I know it hurts, but that's about as graceless a way to handle it as I've seen. What she did was terrible, but you just should have divorced her from the beginning, instead of essentially dragging other people into your drama by asking her to confess to everyone, and then being shocked that after she quit her job and had no support, she's no longer happy. I think breaking her like this and leaving her was OP's plan all along. Talk about bro-revenge. Yeah, we're all playing checkers while OP's playing chess. Am I the jerk for taking away my brother's +1 and inviting his girlfriend myself? My brother's 29 and he's been with Leah for 2 years. We all like her, she's super nice. I'm getting married next April and sent an invite to my brother's apartment. We decided to send invites to households and not individuals. For example, our aunt received an invite for her family and not for each individual. Last Thursday, we met at my parents' place. It was just the core family because of some tax reasons. While there, I asked my brother about Leah's dietary restrictions. I know that she's a vegetarian for health reasons and that she can't have certain raw vegetables. He said that she wasn't going to come and that he was taking his girl best friend, Amanda, instead. Now, their relationship is really weird. Amanda has always been stringing my brother along, in my opinion. He always denies having feelings for her, but let's be real here. Amanda would date other guys, ignore my brother, then when things were on the decline with her partners, she would be attached to him again. Her last boyfriend broke up with her right around the time that my brother, his then ex-girlfriend, Amanda, and her ex were supposed to travel to Spain. What did my idiot brother do? Go with Amanda alone because Amanda was uncomfortable with his ex-girlfriend. Obviously, he acted blindsided when his girlfriend broke up with him. I didn't even say anything anymore because it's just so weird. So when he said that, I asked if Leah already had other plans. But my brother said that Amanda had asked if she could come because it would be an opportunity to finally see the old gang. We were in the same friend group in high school. I told him that I would have invited Amanda if I wanted her there. Amanda is mean and cold. She always makes disparaging comments about other girls. At every event, around 1 hour in, she will make some sort of scene that either has her running away crying or sitting mad at a table telling everyone to leave her alone, and then making a cryptic comment about something hurting her. I told my brother I was revoking his +1 and Amanda was not coming to our wedding. He accused me of being a jerk because I don't understand opposite gender friendships, which is BS. My husband has a female friend who is going to be his best woman. I love her too, and she's been amazing, and she respects boundaries. She always includes me and made a huge effort when I started dating my fiance to integrate me into their friend group. Anyway, I said my decision was final. He could take it or leave it, but I would be inviting Leah myself because I like her. He screamed at me and told me to keep out of his business. I said to get rid of his weird feelings for Amanda. He's mad at me. My dad said it's none of our business. My mom is furious with my brother. So, am I the jerk? Edit to answer some questions. The invite was addressed to the Smiths. Funny enough, Leah has the same last name as us. Granted, we have one of the most common last names. Yes, they live together. The tax thing is nothing huge. My parents have a small business, but are really bad at keeping track of all their receipts. So every month we go and help them. We digitize the receipts and put them in a bookkeeping software for the accountant. Not the jerk. I think bottom line is you don't want Amanda at your wedding because she causes a scene and brings negative energy. I think you're well within your right to say she's not allowed at the wedding. You can invite Leah yourself, but by the sounds of your brother's behavior, who knows if they will even still be together by then. Even if they are, I wouldn't count on her sticking around if he keeps prioritizing Amanda over her. Am I the jerk for ignoring my injured mom after she cut me out of her will? I, 50 female, am the eldest of divorced parents. My father is happily remarried and they had more kids, but my mother stayed single and relies on me and my younger brother, who's 45, to come help her out in her retirement village regularly. It's a flight and a rental car to get to her, so it is kind of a pain. But what makes it worse is that my younger brother, who is single and has no kids, will never go down when she needs something, only when it aligns with his schedule. So he'll go down during his summer vacation and then help with things like moving furniture or taking her car in to be serviced. However, if it's an emergency of any kind, it's all on me. I'm married and we have kids in school, and I have a decent career and a side gig. But all heck breaks loose if I don't go. Passive-aggressive texts, relatives pestering me, etc. When I ask if anyone else could step in, the answer is always, but you're the one she wants. How big of a deal can this be? This woman is the most accident and illness-prone human you'll meet, and it's all for real. In the last few years, it's been a head-on car collision, cancer twice, another accident, T-boned, and pneumonia. She wasn't like this growing up, just since retiring. So even staying the least amount of days, I've burned through PTO, cashed in savings, left the kids to have milestones without me. And usually when I'm with her, she talks on and on about my golden brother. See how he hung that new picture when he was here? He's so handy. Really annoying, but I've had a lifetime to get used to it. A few months ago, I found out by accident that except for some small amounts from my kids, she's leaving everything to my brother. It will be a decent amount, over $250,000. I was so perplexed and admittedly hurt. She refused to talk to me about it, hung up on me, and ignored my texts. So I was stuck trying to figure out what I did to make her decide to do this. Eventually, one of her siblings told me that it was to ensure my brother can retire comfortably. He's always worked low-wage jobs. However, he has few expenses because he lives completely free with a wealthy relative who has a large home that he will also be inheriting. Recently, she had another accident and called me to help. I got the call from the hospital and then her rehab center because even though my brother is her medical POA, I'm always the name and number she gives out. When I didn't say that I'd be going, she sent texts complaining of how hard it is to not be able to drive or do many things, and she pushed for my travel plans. My love for her and care for her was never based on money. She's my mom. But I ended up telling her that I couldn't come down. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I know she's in pain and struggling. I know that her siblings and friends are too old and too far to be much help. But in a moment of spite, I told her to get my brother to do it. And of course, she defended him and added that he couldn't, as a guy, help with certain things. My spouse says I'm in the right, that I've prioritized her needs all my life, and even if it's because of the will, it was past time for me to stop doing everything. But others, especially family, can't understand why I haven't gone down yet, and I end up feeling so disappointed in myself. Mom sends me "woe is me" texts about how she will manage without me even though everything's a struggle. The injuries are legitimately difficult. Now she's sending texts about how she understands I'm too busy and she'll call the youngest of her siblings, who's 67, if she has to. So, am I the jerk for leaving my injured mom on her own because she cut me out of her will? Update. Before I could talk myself out of it, I texted my mom's youngest sibling and told her I was tapping out. I ranted a bit. She bought a plane ticket and is going down to help mom. She completely understood and was super supportive. She told me that mom has been having memory issues and is planning to move to assisted care. Okay, she said she's going to make that a priority when she's down there to help. Technically, she's my aunt, but I never knew her growing up, but it was nice to feel like a family member had my back. I don't know if she told mom or shared my texts, but mom has been calling. I muted her. I don't know what happens next, but I think a good night's sleep is definitely first. My girlfriend's mom is demanding to move in with us. Not gonna happen. I, 23 male, and my girlfriend, who's 22, have been together for almost 6 years now. We just moved into a house that I bought and own a month and a half ago. I'm a first-time homeowner, and this is my first time living on my own away from my parents. She's been living in an apartment for a few years prior to moving in here. We make enough to live comfortably. We bring home around $80,000 combined, and as a result, I was able to buy a pretty big house for the two of us, nearly the size of my parents' home. I alone pay the mortgage and utilities since it's my house. Girlfriend has been generous enough to buy groceries, subscriptions, etc. She's also paid for some of the furniture we have when we moved in. The issue here came about 2 weeks ago. Girlfriend's mom, Anne, isn't well off. She lived in a trailer with her boyfriend, and they broke up a few months ago, so she had been living with her mom and mom's husband. Anne's mom passed a couple of weeks ago from cancer, and now her mom's husband is kicking her out. She has the possibility of living with my girlfriend's sister and her boyfriend, who live with the boyfriend's parents, but Anne's been insistent on moving in with us. I am firmly against this. It's my house. I'm very much enjoying living on my own, and honestly, I don't want anyone else here. It's not my fault that her mom hasn't done anything to improve her financial situation, and I shouldn't be forced to endure her consequences of her actions. The fact that, to my knowledge, she isn't even looking at apartments, other trailers in that area, or a job just shows me that she intends to move in here and stay here. I can tell my girlfriend doesn't want that either, but wants to cave and ask me to allow it, though she's been avoiding the subject directly with me given the uncomfortable situation she's understandably in. I love her to death, but she's a massive pushover when it comes to her mom. She had me driving to Walmart to get food and cigarettes for her mom when we started dating because her mom was too lazy to do it. My girlfriend's sister has been saying I'm a jerk because we have a bigger house and we can easily take her in. I told her outright, it's not my mom and not my problem, which caused her to throw a tantrum on the phone, and she accused me of trying to make her mom homeless. I've been feeling guilty, but I want to hold my ground. I don't want to enable her mom to sit around here all day drinking. So, am I the jerk? Someone takes issue with OP calling it his house and not our house. OP. Although I love her and fully intend to marry her soon, for the lack of better words here, I didn't want to be the idiot who put his girlfriend's name on the title only for us to break up for some reason and have to deal with resolving that. If and when we get married and I let her start contributing to the mortgage, she'll be put on the title. I can understand your argument, but I do want to communicate here that I've been working since I was 14 to get to where I am now. I was able to put a ton down on the house to make my monthly payment pretty low compared to what I net per month. Her buying groceries and paying for Amazon Prime and Chewy for her dog is more of a gesture of goodwill rather than a necessity. I could still afford to live by myself were she not in the picture. I never communicate to her about the house that way, but I do darn right think it, because I need to be prepared should we ever split. In my opinion, it is my house until she's on the title or mortgage, after we'd get married. I'm completely for equality in relationships, but she didn't bust her tail working until 11 p.m. every night as a farmhand like I did when I was 14. When I said that to her sister, I was fed up after going back and forth for 45 minutes on the phone with her about this. I just honestly wanted to shut her down and to end the call. I do acknowledge I could have handled that much better than I did. On the bit about the sister sharing the responsibility, this financial situation isn't unique to my future mother-in-law. As I mentioned, girlfriend's sister lives with her boyfriend in the boyfriend's parents' house. Girlfriend is the first one in their family to graduate college and the only one in that family that has a job paying above minimum wage. This caused a lot of resentment from girlfriend's sister about my girlfriend. I don't see them cooperating on a solution here, but I will try to propose it. About the mom. Her mother is in her late 40s and has no disabilities that I'm aware of. She used to work in a meat processing plant before lockdown, but she quit because she didn't want to catch it and hasn't had a job since. Nothing has been brought up about her contributing to the house. It's essentially been her trying to guilt my girlfriend into letting her move in. As to her position, she doesn't want her moving in either. But as I mentioned, she doesn't know how to tell her mother no, so she's been stalling her mom. I don't think it would be the end of the world to her if I just came in with a resounding no. This woman is in her late 40s, has no savings, has lived off of SNAP benefits since my girlfriend can remember. She's done nothing to improve her financial situation, spends what money she does get on beer and cigarettes. I don't want to be living with her. I don't want my nice house ruined by cigarette smoke. I don't want to take care of a lazy 40-something-year-old that doesn't want to act like an adult and get a darn job. About the mom smoking. Again, she won't take it outside. Before all this started, when we would go visit at Anne's mom's house, I would have to immediately wash all of my clothes in their own load to get out the smell. And if it wasn't obvious, the cancer that took her mom was lung cancer, currently taking my father as well. Update. My girlfriend, now fiance, and I are fine. We talked about it and agreed since it is my house, I would be the one to grow a pair and say no. Her mom came up to visit, probably to scout out the house she thought she would be living in, and I laid it all out for her over dinner. After sitting down and having some small talk, I essentially said that under no circumstances would she be moving in with us, and that was that. She got pretty agitated, trying to guilt me with, "What's the big deal? Where will I go? I'll be on the street if you don't let me move in." I started to reiterate that it's not my or our problem, but I remembered some of the suggestions that the commenters on the original post gave and suggested public housing, some local assistance programs like food pantries, etc. She still wasn't having it though. She's very entitled. She said it would be a lot easier, for her of course, these people only think about themselves, if we just let her move in. She didn't want to go through the hassle of applying for public housing. She doesn't want to have to go to the food banks, stuff like that. We kind of went back and forth, talking over each other, and it escalated to the point that I kicked her out. Didn't lay any hands on anyone, but I took her plate of food and threw it out, and told her to get the heck out of my house. She left after some yelling, and my new neighbors saw the whole show of her going off on me and peeling out of my driveway, chewing up some of my yard during the process. So that was fun. When the yelling started, my girlfriend retreated to our bedroom, and after her mother had left, I went back there to find her crying. After giving her some time and cleaning up dinner, I didn't so much throw her mom's plate out as I did launch it at the trash can, so it was everywhere. I went back in and we had a long talk about what happened. She told me I did the right thing, but I had scared her with all the yelling. She has a lot of issues from her past, unsurprisingly, but I reassured her that her mom wouldn't be coming back and this whole thing was over. So far, that's rung true. I suggested she give therapy a shot since her family is such a mess and she has a lot of baggage that she could talk about, and she agreed, only asking if I would attend some sessions with her, which I happily agreed to do. She's been to 3 so far alone and a 4th one with both of us, and from what I've heard, they've all been going very well. So that's pretty much it. Her mom has buzzed off back to the hole that she came from and hasn't bothered us since. Asked her to marry me last week and she said yes, so I'm looking forward to starting this new chapter in our lives. And no, her mother won't be invited to the wedding. Thank you for all the helpful comments and suggestions. They really helped me out. Am I the jerk for telling my boyfriend he will be financially cut off from me and I will provide zero help if he buys a pug puppy? Info. VT is vet technician. IVDD is intervertebral disc disease. Brack dogs have skull bones that are shortened in length, giving the face and nose a pushed-in appearance. Dermatitis causes them to have itchy skin, and otitis is an ear infection. So this situation involves me, 28 female, and my boyfriend who's 27. We've been together for about 2 years and some change. We live together and split all of the main bills, but the rest of our paychecks we keep separate and spend how we want to. Typically, this works fine, but despite him earning the same, sometimes more, than me, he's not great at budgeting. He gets takeout almost every day, buys coffee every single day, sends his horrible mom money whenever she asks, etc. And I've had to help him out with money multiple times. But the real issue started when he brought up wanting to buy a pug puppy. Now, I work in veterinary medicine, lead vet tech at my clinic, and frequently see firsthand the suffering these dogs go through due to bad breeding and even just their breed standard anatomy. Plus, they're prone to so many chronic expensive health issues, and I found over the years that no matter what the other person says, if you work in my field and they get a pet, a lot of the harder care aspects, like medical, will fall on you. And honestly, I find buying a pug at all to be unethical and something I'm not okay with. I certainly wouldn't be willing to bring them into my clinic and shoulder the responsibility, which I know is what would happen. I love my boyfriend, but this is a guy who thought neutering a dog involved removing their parts, and even says he knows nothing about animals until he met me, Who's going to have to manage the situation when the dog has chronic allergic dermatitis or otitis or IVDD or one of the other million issues they typically end up having? Me. I already know it. I explained all of this to him and he got quite upset with me for completely shutting down what he wants. I told him a small to medium dog isn't out of the question, just not a pug or other brack dog and not a puppy. They are far too much of a time and effort commitment than either of us can provide and wouldn't be good for anyone. I don't like to admit that I pulled the "this is literally my career field and I know what I'm talking about" when he kept repeating, "Well, you don't know that." Because yeah, I kinda do. I'm also not proud of this, but I told him if he did get the pug puppy, I would never help him out again with money, and I would give him zero help with the puppy, including bringing them into my clinic as an employee-affiliated pet for at-cost care, cheaper but by no means free, or medications. He was pretty shocked when I said this and left our apartment to go cool off. I guess he told our mutual friend because they told me via text that I was being a jerk about the whole thing and must hate animals. All my coworkers agree with me, but I know they're obviously biased. Am I the jerk? Edit to add, this mutual friend was his best friend before we started dating, and they became my friend also. Or at least I thought they were. While what they said is crappy and not okay, I have a hard time believing my boyfriend actually called me that to him. Even when we argue, not often, but it does happen, he's never used any words like that or anything even remotely disrespectful. I would not tolerate that. He is immature at times, but never like that. Another edit to address some common things in the comments. My clinic is actually part of a shelter. I talked at length with him about how we could go foster one of the dogs from work who was compatible with us and our lifestyle, size, energy, age, cat-friendly, etc., before adopting, and he was not happy with this. He also was not interested in mixes with a pug who didn't have the extremely short face due to not looking like a pug anymore. That's when I got a little more forceful with my ultimatum. If we got a dog together, then I would be happy to take on the lion's share of things, like medical care, because this is a pet we got together and it just makes sense. I got my cat before dating him, so my cat, and have never asked him to shoulder any aspect of her care other than feeding her if I was going to be home late from work or something similar. We have never had an issue like this before, so that's one reason I'm a bit lost on if I was really in the wrong or not. Clearing up confusion, I'm a vet tech, not a veterinarian. Think of it as nurse versus doctor. Just been seeing some confusion in the replies. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.